So the other day, and by other day I mean 6 years ago, Toonami announced that they were working on an Uzumaki miniseries. And naturally people were hyped, but also kinda twitchy. See, a few years ago before that, they took a swing at adapting some of Junji Ito's work, and... Mommy! It didn't go so well, let's just say. Like handing Picasso to a toddler with crayons. Good intentions, tragic results. But hey, maybe this time would be different. Uzumaki is a relatively short story, so there's no weekly episode crunch. That means they could actually slow down, take their time, and polish the animation until it hits that delicious, horror swirly perfection. And as the old adage goes,
the only way to get it right is to get it wrong.
And so we waited, and waited, and waited some more. We got a new trailer and it looked amazing. Inky black lines, spirals of madness, atmospheric sound design that made your soul feel slightly cursed. The hype and hope train was rolling at full speed. And then we waited again. And finally it came out. Downward Spiral, the animated series, has arrived. And at first it looked beautifully horrifying. Exactly the kind of thing you'd expect from an Ito adaptation done right. But then it became horrifyingly cheap. Yeah, we've all seen the memes. Yeah, that one scene, the phase, the walk cycle. But I'm not here to dunk on it. No, I'm here to dig into the spiral-shaped rabbit hole and figure out what actually went wrong. And so I decided to watch the entire series. And it started off strong, really strong. But then the quality started spiraling out of control. The main culprits, lazy direction, cheap looking animations, and the blatant overuse of rotoscoping. Now let me be clear, there's nothing inherently wrong with rotoscoping. It's always been a tool, a reference point, a way to bridge live action realism and animation. Loads of legendary films have used it to stunning effect. In the right hands, rotoscoping can feel fluid, grounded, or even surreal. Heck, even the first episode did some rotoscoping, but it was hidden behind layers of detail hiding that fact. But when it's slapped on without nuance, when the trace outlines feel stiff, the expressions go dead-eyed, mouths just flap with no rhyme or reason, and the characters just move like they're on a grid slapped onto the background, making it look like they're floating, it stops enhancing the art and starts replacing it. What should have added texture and eeriness instead makes everything feel like a discount motion comic. It's not the tool that failed, it's the execution. And from here, it just keeps going downhill. Sure, it technically tells the story, but the cinematic look and eerie vibe of the first episode, gone. Vanish. What started out as a tense, mystery-driven thriller slowly mutates into a generic slice of life with occasional horror sprinkled throughout. The suspense fizzles out. The atmosphere deflates. It's like the show forgot it was adapting Uzumaki and thought it was making the Spiral High the animated series. Hell, even the final shot, the moment in the manga that was supposed to be this dramatic, awe-inspiring gut punch, the kind of image that sears into your brain and leaves you sitting in a stunned silence, got reduced to a lifeless slideshow. Just flat frames. No energy, no impact, just slide 37 of Junji Ito's Downward Spiral. And those two words sum up the miniseries perfectly, a downward spiral.
Downward spiral, downward spiral, downward spiral.
It had all the potential to break the infamous Ito adaptation curse and become something truly unforgettable. Instead, it tripped over its own spirals and somehow managed to fall harder than its already flawed predecessors. So instead of bitching and laughing about its downward spiral, I'm gonna do something no one's ever done. Actually research why this tragedy happened. And let me tell you, there's been a lot of disinformation. For a while, this screenshot was making the rounds and people genuinely believed the series was outsourced to a hentai animator. Turns out, lies. Some random user just made it up.
What are you doing? I'm posting false information on the web. Why? It's fun.
So what really went down? From what little info I could gather, the pandemic absolutely wrecked production. It halted the team for nearly a year, and several crew members' families fell seriously ill, which understandably killed morale. And after that, silence. But digging through the credits and cross-referencing a few sources, it turns out that the Hentai Studios story wasn't totally off the rails. It was just misrepresented. They did switch directors and studios, but it wasn't some shady off-brand operation, it was just a different animation studio. Not uncommon in anime, honestly. Here's the wild part. In the final episode, the credits list 5 episode directors and 12 animation directors. That's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. And yet the closest thing to an explanation comes from a deleted tweet by Toonami's head project manager, Jason DeMarco. He basically said someone, or maybe several people, screwed over the production for reasons unknown, and because he respected the team's hard work, he decided to air it, warts and all. You gotta respect that though. At least one guy had the guts to show it, even if the final product was broken. And honestly, that might be the only thing keeping this disaster watchable. But still, I find it kinda odd that this production was so tethered and sloppily managed. Meanwhile, during its 5-year production period, we had Jujutsu Kaisen take the world by storm, even though I didn't really care about it, but I'll admit the fight scenes are are pretty cool. Then there's Spy Family, or Spy X Family, however you say it, which somehow pumped out 2 seasons and a movie without breaking a sweat. Chainsaw Man, over the top, chaotic, yet visually stunning, with an action that makes your head spin in the best way. It's no wonder it took Mexico by storm. Demon Slayer, swinging its blade and smashing expectations with every season and movie, setting new benchmarks for animation quality. And Dandadan, another hit, taking the anime world by storm, even though I only watch it after sex. Meanwhile, One Piece cranked out 500 episodes in that same 5-year gap. Hell, even Bleach came back with a vengeance with Thousand Year Blood War, proving it can revitalize itself with cinematic level fights, careful pacing, and quality animation. And all of these series managed to produce 12 plus episode seasons with OVA or film level production values, sometimes in less than the time it took Uzumaki to finish 4 episodes. So my question is this: why did it take Uzumaki 5 years just to make 4 episodes? Was it the pandemic? Partially, sure, but the contrast is wild. While the rest of the anime world was cranking out cinematic quality seasons, Uzumaki was trapped in a whirlpool of mismanagement, director swaps, and chaotic staff rotations. 5 years later, what should have been a masterpiece ended up as another Junji Ito adaptation cursed to fall short. Ito's art is absurdly intricate. Some panels take 8 hours just to ink, and Uzumaki's spirals, textures, and madness just don't survive a sloppy production. It's messy, yes, but not the fun meme it to death kind of messy. This is the curse kind. The cruel irony, Uzumaki was always about spirals dragging everything down, and the anime itself became one, spinning for years only to collapse under its own weight. And honestly, it wasn't just bad luck. Even Jason DeMarco hinted at serious mismanagement behind the scenes. Then right in the middle of production, Warner Brothers merged into the Zaslav era. And if you've been online longer than 5 minutes, you know how the story goes. David Zaslav, the indisputed final boss of cost cutting. So yeah, it wouldn't shock me if Uzumaki got caught in the corporate blender. Budgets trimmed, morale crushed, passion project reduced to accounting lines. Add a pandemic on top of that, and this show never stood a chance. It was at the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong hands. A story about spirals swallowed by its own. With all that said, this has been Dino, and I hope everyone has a lovely Halloween.
As the controversy was now spiraling out of control. Over the next 5 days, no fewer than